Hello, my name is Lamerican. Welcome to the Naval Sports League. For our first time watchers, the Naval Sports League, or NSL, is the ultimate naval competition in the game of holdfast nations at war. League battles are simple. Two teams, each led by a single admiral, pilot five large capital ships and two small support boats, with the goal of sinking as many capital ships as they can within 35 minutes. Whoever sinks the most wins, and if there's a tie, we decide the winner by overall score. Teams consist of anywhere between 20 to 40 players, and the league provides mercenaries to balance out any number disparities between the teams. Every player in the league, be they a team player or mercenary, is competing hard for end of season awards and accolades. Every battle will take place on a randomly chosen map with a randomly chosen wind direction. Both of these factors means that no two battles will ever be the same. The league lasts for 9 months, from late February to November, with 3 games a month for you to enjoy. Once that main season is over, the top 3 teams of the league will duke it out to determine who wins the champion's crown. The NSL is a collection of Holdfast's most talented admirals, officers, and crews, and the tactical gameplay you'll see here is at a higher level than anything else this game has to offer. We hosts and co-hosts will be here for the entire battle to help you understand the decisions and strategies you'll see play out in the NSL Coliseum. So, without further ado, let's get to the pregame coverage. I'm joined today by my friend, uh, fellow admiral, and I guess I can call you now my rival, Muffin Top Scout. Welcome to the broadcast, Muffin. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. It's good to be here, and yeah, it's good to have rivals.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And let's take a look at the evidence of your work here as we take a look at the league standings. Last week or last game, you had an incredible victory over myself and the Leviathans, giving us our first loss on the record. That's the 8-1 you see up there, and giving yourselves the 6-2 record with the points difference to catapult yourself up into the second place, where you've been jockeying with the Krakens for some time now. Today, we're going to see the Krakens try and strike back at your position there and keep that rivalry that you guys have between the two of you alive. So, take a look at our league standings as we sort of rapidly approach the end of the season, and things are at the top of the bracket getting a little shaky at the end, whereas the bottom of the bracket seems to be holding tight. But today we have a top of the bracket, bottom of the bracket fight between the Marines and the Krakens. Before we get into the details of that, Muffin, would you like to take us a little bit through the player leaderboard and tell us a little bit about what you're seeing there?
Right. So the player leaderboard, as a point of like smugness, is right now dominated by the SCP-30. I'm proud of my boys. They show up to every mercenary match, every event match, and our guys just across the board show that SCP. We're here to fight, and we'll prove ourselves. So if you look, Spicy, Dan, and Bobby have been pretty stable in their positions throughout the whole season, with Bobby kind of fighting for that fifth place spot. But McCandless and Shadow, both extremely competent players. And today, McCandless has that opportunity to knock at Spicy's lead, maybe even surpass him looking at the points. So it should be fun to see today.
Yes. All right. Let's check out our side by side comparison here with the Marines versus the Krakens. We've got Kieran's as Admiral for the Marines, and we've got Percy as Admiral for the Krakens, with Wavy as his vice. The season record for the Marines is 1-7, and for the Krakens is 6-2. Take a look at that rest of that information. Our top players are Bjornson, Dumbbell, Count Chocula for the Marines, with Vex as the player to watch. Then we have McCandless, Verda, and Grice for the Krakens, with Davy as the one to watch. Now, at this point, we do like to go kind of a head-to-head, me and the other co-hosts, and talk about why we think one or the other is going to win. Muffin, I am going to give you your pick of teams. Who would you like to represent today?
Obviously, the Marines, for the very
Okay.
obvious reason why.
Yes, I can only imagine. So, what do you think is the Marines' victory condition path to victory today?
The main thing is just looking at the map, maneuvering your fleet into the best opportunity that gives you that. I think an initial volley, that opening salvo can be pretty key. So that's what I
And
hope that they can do.
and we'll talk about the map in just a few minutes and about some of the changes to what we were expecting today. But I'll rep the Krakens, often number two, sometimes number three team of the league. They are structured, they are organized, they are professional, they are well led, they have great cannoneers, and they have the numbers. They are one perfect unit that comes together to really bring the hurt on most of the teams that they fight. Um, they have an incredible record of victory, I think they're coming into this pretty comfortable. I think they are by far the favorite to win. And the Marines are going to have to do something pretty incredible. But today is a day for incredible things to happen. Now, we would normally be showing you the map at this time, but instead, we are going to tell you about the map and we'll show it to you when we get in game because right now, we have had some technical issues on the end. Every year we have some Halloween updates, and we have some changes that get made both to landed and naval in Holdfast, and sometimes they come with a few hiccups for some of the custom servers. Our Coliseum is such a custom server. It was made by our Admiral Killam using non-AGS assets and all sorts of things, and sometimes the updates can interfere with that. Today is one such day where the Coliseum is not functioning properly. The ships can't pilot and they won't shoot. So instead, what we are going to see today is a different map that has been agreed upon by both of the admirals. Both the admirals have chosen this map and agreed that this is where they want to have the fight. This is called Caribbean. And the Caribbean map is one where there are many differences from a regular game. Specifically, I think, Muffin, the biggest difference, and we're both pretty experienced on this map, is that you're a lot closer when you start off, like a lot closer in your spawn zone.
Oh yeah, as soon as live is called, I do think the 13 gun front carronade can start pounding away at both sides. So we're gonna
Yeah,
see some hopefully some good sniping right at the get go.
yeah. That is what I expect as well. Um, it's very, very likely that these two teams are going to get very aggressive very quickly, or that one of them is going to turn and let's actually take a look. I have gotten my camera into position, and I'd love for you guys. I'd love for you guys to take a look at what we're seeing here. This is the Caribbean map. Lots of islands here, okay? But I think, and let me try and get my crayon up and running. Let's see if I can do it. So here we go. I have the Marines on this side, and I have the Krakens on my Marines on my left side of the overhead, and the Krakens on the right side of my overhead. What we're going to see here is that the two teams have an entrance that kind of a channel in front of them that brings them into this inner circle of islands. Okay, that is an extraordinary danger zone for any team that goes in there because you are very close. The distance between these two teams, once they got into that middle ring, Muffin, would be very dangerous. But the outside may be the play that they're both going to take and kind of suss out where the other team is going to go. What do you think the openings are going to be for this?
I mean, it really all depends on what the teams want to do. If they're in the mood to brawl, then I can see both teams going middle and duking it out. But I do think that kind of given the ship's orientation, the Krakens will probably loop around on the north side, staying on the outside of that kind of inner circle and seeing what they can do if they can peck away at the Marines. Because the Marines kind of they have a little bit of trouble, in my opinion, on that island that's right in front of them, especially with the 13 gun being right there. It could take them a minute to maneuver.
Yeah, any sideways motion, like to go, I guess, south or north for them, they're not going to be able to go forward. They're going to have to like turn almost in place for them to get their ship to do anything except for head sort of west towards the Kraken's spawn zone. I agree with you on that. And so you're thinking that's going to give the Kraken some time to maneuver and get maybe cross halfway. Um, by the way, the wind is south today, so the wind is going this way towards the top of the screen. That is our basically our south. Technically, it is not exactly straight up. It is more along the lines of slightly diagonally this way. If you're looking on the overhead, you can see my arrow tucked in behind the Krakens. But Muffin, as you said, it looks like the Krakens are going to be headed north off the bat. Not a shocking development. That is the space that they have. What I had heard beforehand when we were trying to like sort of get this all set up in the last few minutes, Kieran said, like, first of all, I want to fight. I want this to be official. I don't want this to be just an exhibition. We've been planning for this for a while, and he wanted islands. I had suggested to them maybe using open ocean because the open ocean had much further spawn points from each other. It gives both the teams some time to get their ideas or get their formation in order. He said no. I think he wants islands. So I'm very interested to see what island play he's got cooked up for this.
Well,
It looks like they're going south.
yeah, it looks they're kind of just playing to the strengths of each team right now, or I should say strengths of the map for each team. You know, it's kind of like, hey, let's form up, let's begin maneuvering around the islands, let's look for an opportunity. Now, right now, the Krakens kind of have a little bit of it, kind of what I call the advantage of map, and they have the most wind, I should say, as well. As I think it's the weather gauge, that's the proper term.
Yeah, getting the weather gauge right. So they're headed right now like east northeast, which is kind of banking the weather gauge for later because of the southern wind. So they do have what I would say is the better position here because wherever the Marines end up going, they're going to be able to jet over and close the distance very quickly at their leisure.
Interesting. I just zoomed in, and the Marines are bringing double rockets.
And
Interesting. I wonder if they're going to try to lob some rockets over some islands, or maybe do a little bit of harassing with boarding early on. Because looking, those boats aren't very heavily manned yet.
the Marines boat, you mean?
Yeah, both
Yeah.
Marines boats seem to be lightly manned as compared to like what we did against our match, where we made sure to
Yeah, you guys
provide a
had a lot of
bunch of
guys on your.
bodies.
Yeah, and as they go around this big island, it seems like they're almost like baiting the Krakens to chase after them because they're obviously avoiding. They don't want to catch that broadside at this early juncture.
Oh
We've
yeah,
talked a
definitely not.
we've talked a lot about you know using gunboats and rocket boats in moments where both of the fleets are actually engaged with each other because that takes the attention off of them and allows them to do their work without too many ships turning and firing at them. This early deployment, the Marines' rocket boats very close to the Kraken's fleet. This could get very dangerous and kind of it's possible that these could be thrown away in the early battle. But they've got a plan here. They've got a plan, no question about it.
Yeah, and it's kind of obvious maybe their plan has changed from, their original map that they were looking at, but it is key. Like, you don't want to sacrifice your boats too early. You don't want to give the enemy a needless points advantage like what I did against the Krakens our first match. So if you can get in close and hit enemy boats with, boarding crews and lovely carpenters, then, you can do a lot of damage, but kind of charging enemy boats, enemy gunboats can be risky.
And I mean, what I'm seeing here, unfortunately, from the Marines is they don't seem to have a plan. They have a plan that doesn't seem to account for the Kraken's gunboats. Um, it's all well and good to get rocket boats behind the enemy fleet. And it seemed if there were no Kraken's gunboats stopping them at the rear, I think they would do that quite well. As you can see, one of their rocket boats is getting towards the back of the Kraken's fleet, but it's just going to get chased and harassed by a gunboat the entire time. If you don't bring out a gunboat in the beginning, the team that does is going to just bully you.
Oh yeah, it's rocket boats. They're a fun idea. Used well, they can do a lot of good damage,
Yeah, I mean,
and they could.
last game, you showed how much distraction damage, crew wiping abilities that they have.
Oh yeah, and also just as boarding crews too. Putting
Hmm.
the rocket boat is this fairly large little boat, so being able to board an enemy at a crucial moment can, cause some chaos, cause gunners to not fire, stuff like that. Allows your your side to hopefully punish the ship that's being boarded.
Yeah.
But it's looking like, oh wait, yep, nope, never mind. The boats look like they might be trying to stay engaging with the rocket boats, but the lines are now moving kind of into position for attack.
We're going
Um,
to see some exchange of fire between those fleets right very soon. I do want to note that the gunboat, a KRN gunboat, did get stuck on an island. Um, these maps are not made by Killam. They have a little bit less forgiving borders on some of these islands, little snags that you can catch in. So, uh, though one of the rocket boats for the Marines is down, It hasn't been the like fast dispatch I think the Krakens would have liked. And I'd say the gunboats and rocket boats are effectively out of this fight for a little while, dealing only with each other. And now, Muffin, we get to see these two fleets clash at
Right.
a
Though
spawn zone.
the Marines angle, I don't like. I think I know what they're trying to do, but I do think the Krakens have the better angle in in this upcoming engagement.
The Krakens always have the ability at this point to turn to their left, to their port, and get speed. The Marines are not. If the Krakens were to cut in left here and aim themselves, and I'm going to draw on the overhead real quick and just talk a little bit about this. But if they were to cut in this way or cut in this way, the mechanics of these two islands. So that's a cut in. If you're not seeing what I'm seeing right now, Muffin, we're talking about like cutting in southeast, basically, or sorry, no, southwest, and kind of cutting through that gap between the two islands. They would have essentially cut off the Marines' ability to turn with them and not hit an island. They could use these islands to their advantage if they chose to, but I think it's going to end up being more of a line battle between the two of them, with the
Yeah.
Kraken just slowly gaining speed.
And then once again, the Marines angle, they have to get really close to that bigger island on their left in
Yep.
order to kind of keep a good like attack angle on the enemy. Granted, the enemy 13 gun or the Kraken's 13 gun is in the line and should be within easy range of the 8. So if the Marines can focus and then hit the Kraken's 13, I mean that might be worth the trade for this kind of bad angle for their lead 8 because it is the
Unfortunately,
target.
unfortunately, because of the Halloween update, all of the cannon trails are like green now. It's very difficult to see from the overhead, but we are getting an exchange of fire. And Muffin, it would be if you have eyes on it, let us know the conditions of these 13 guns as they develop, because only we're going to see cannon explosions really as a signifier of what kind of damage is being done here. But one of the 13 guns is already pretty beat up a little bit.
Yep, that looks like the Kraken's 13 has been taking some damage. Or wait, or is my overlay wrong? Hold on, I might have that overlay
It's
bug
entirely
as
possible.
well.
So it is the first
Right.
RM who have lost their rocket boats, and that's so we can tell that the one
Yeah,
that's losing all these boats up
my bad.
here, that's the first RM. So it looks like the first RM's 13 gun is taking the worst of it. And again, this is a quality that arises when you have your 13 gun in line with the rest of your fleet. It is then in range of every single enemy ship. The Krakens are an exceptionally strong gunnery team. Their cannoneering is going to be focused. It's
Hmm.
not a surprise that at this point the first RM ship is already down to half. They do not seem to have unlocked the ability to focus fire on the enemy 13.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Or the RM looks like they're gonna be pulling away, which I don't think is a. I don't know if I would have made that call. I probably would have told them the other way. Had my 8s go more north to focus down the enemy 13 to at least allow my 13 to gain a position somewhere.
This
Because
is the
as soon
major issue because the 13 is going to probably go down before it gets to escape.
oh yeah, yeah, it's the focus target now of the whole fleet, and yeah, there's no saving it unfortunately. And the
Any
Marines,
second.
they, I mean honestly, if they wanted to, if they could, the main thing to come back from this is to get back into the islands so that the 13's range maybe not be as advantageous. They have to force the 13 to commit to weird angles to, attack the rest of the enemy line.
Not to
So,
mention, they could use the wind in a way that has the 8 guns maybe outspeed the 13 gun in a chase after them,
yeah.
and let the 13 gun lag behind. That kind of strategy is really, like you said, all they have left. Um, yeah, this is an unfortunate start. They did not want this, but if they didn't want this, then you shouldn't have had your 13 gun in range of the 8 guns because this is very predictably what will happen. Um, and it's a damn shame to see. Um,
And Krakens are showing their gun rate. That last 8 gun of the Marines just lost 2 cannons of quick succession.
You know,
And their other side, ooh, it's kind of the same, unfortunately. It got hit hard.
and that's because they are. It's just such a slow way to go around that island. The problem here is that every cannon destroyed is a exponential drop in the likelihood that they can turn around this battle, because it is all about rate of fire, damage per minute, how much you're depleting the enemy's HP resources and denying their cannons the ability to fight. So we're at a point where the chances for the Marines is dwindling rapidly, and they're getting pursued
Oh
by
yeah,
a
and then
very enthusiastic Krakens.
I mean, wouldn't you be? It says the blood is in the
Absolutely.
water. Uh,
Absolutely.
you've just devastated. I'm sure. Which is Percy captaining one of the ships today?
That's a
Or
great question. I don't know what their situation is with who's above and watching it from above or on the ground. I don't know. Let's say he is.
right, so it's either Percy or Wavy. So he sees 2 8 guns, and he knows which 2 8 guns of his opponents are hurt. The front one and the back one.
In the
He
back
has
one.
2 targets that he can focus down, and now he just has to position himself. So the Krakens can afford to be a lot more aggressive if they wanted to. If they wanted to risk one of their eights or 2 of their 8s to really get into to bully their way into a position for the rest of their line to come in and really punish the Marines. That's
Agree.
stuff you got to consider. I know you want all the points. You want as many points as you can, especially the Krakens. They're 2,000 points below my team. They want the big win. I want the Marines to die hard and kill a few of the enemy ships, bring them down to try to maintain that lead. But, it's the risks you play. I know against you guys, I was more than willing to throw a ship at your line to kind of keep you entertained to allow the rest of my ships to move into position. So,
Because your consideration at this point is getting the win, right? You're less focused on points with against Leviathans, but I think, like you said, the Krakens are going to be very point conscious in this battle. They
oh
have
yeah,
22 minutes left, and they've basically already won. In they don't see this as a situation that the first RM could come back from. And I probably wouldn't either if I was them. So what they're thinking now is we've got 20 minutes. Let's hunt them down. Let's tire them out. Let's get them into a situation where they can't escape us. They've got to go against the wind because they're far to the south. We have better wind than them. We're going to meet them back up in the middle of this, right? They're going to head forward. They're both going to go on opposite sides of that very large island ahead of both of them. And they're going to get a better angle and a better wind speed than the Marines. And in the middle of those islands, they are going to strike.
yep.
Unless, like you said, they want to be brave and do a hard starboard turn and hit the backside of the Marines' line as they're halfway through that channel, which I agree, I think would be an awesome move from them.
Oh yeah, it's that thing of how hard do you want to win, or how risky do you want to be. And the Krakens, they don't need to do it. It's mainly for the if they want to do it, they can. And it's looking like the boats are. It looks like both teams have gunboats out, fighting it out. But it is looking like. Ooh, I would say the advantage is still with Kraken's boats
They're not even
because I
damaged. I don't see any
did
damage
see.
on them.
Yeah. Well, I did see the Marines one that's just turning out. I believe it had a swivel explosion on it. So
Oh. They could catch one of these 8 guns. They could catch a first RM 8 gun, these Kraken's gunboats. Like, they're right there. If
yeah,
they just the Marines gun. I'm hearing Marines gunboats also lost their main cannons here, so that's
ooh,
not good. You don't
now
want that.
now they have to be dedicated boarders, get in close, hit them
Yeah.
hard.
Or if maybe they have a swivel cannon on the side, maybe get real close to enemy boats and just like wipe the decks and just prevent them from doing anything. Because at this point, one of those first RM 8 guns is. Oh, that's actually it's sunk. It just got sunk. So a gunboat sunk it. I
Yep.
assume that is the one that was broken off. that
Yeah.
we see that's further to the south because it seems to have stopped. Whew, the Krakens are looking real good right now. They're looking real good.
I mean, they're
Uh,
they're proving why they're top 3.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. They're gonna be they're gonna be a real pain in our asses this season. There's no question
Yeah.
about it.
That's the
That
final map of this season is or final match of the season is SCP versus Krakens, and
yeah, yep. And then one of us is gonna have to fight them in the finals or the semifinals, and that is going to be quite a battle. But you can see them really refining their play here. They have not offset their 13 gun here. I think they don't think that they really have to. They know that they can. They probably know that they should in most regular battles. But look at these cannon explosions that they're
oh yeah.
getting. They're just tearing the first RM, the Marines apart, um, and they're doing it
Yeah,
very
this
easily.
this Marines 8 gun, that's the focus target. I feel like he's set up to be the sacrifice. He knows he's not going to make it, but
He's the one who's
getting
already
close.
low. He's the
Yeah.
one who was already low too. So that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, what you want is just you tell your boys, okay, just give me one. Give me one. Focus it
They're
down.
they're not even really close to getting a sync on any of these Kraken ships right now.
Unfortunately.
That is unfortunate because yeah, you're right. You want to just take something down with you, but this is going to be the exact opposite of what you wanted, Muffin. I think as
Yeah.
far as points go.
Yeah. I mean, I was joke. You probably had seen sub chat around, but we were joking in SCP's chat. Be like, okay, guys, all of you are going to become Marines. Change your names. Uh, it's not spicy paper. It's paper that is spicy. You're not affiliated. And just get in there.
That's funny. No, I get it. You really want to see them take some points loss, but we're getting to a situation with over 16 minutes left in the battle, and the Marines, I'm sorry, are going to be down to 2 ships in a matter of seconds, and the Krakens are, their 13 gun is down to half, but half of a 13 gun is like a full 8 gun still, so they're sitting pretty. And here it
Oh
goes.
yeah.
I'm gonna see that ship go down any second. That lead ship of the Marines gonna.
This is where you just want that one lucky cannonball that somehow detonates all cannons.
Yeah, that would be nice. There it is.
There we
That
go.
is the breakaway ship from the Marines fleet that went into the channel that was heading towards the Krakens. That ship is now sunk. It is now all that the Marines have left are 2 8 guns and 2 what I assume are gunboats, and that's gonna be not enough to take down a fully armed, very confident Kraken's fleet. Muffin, what
Yeah.
could we have done different here if we're the first RM?
Ooh, I mean, so thinking about it, I'm of the mindset that not moving out at spawn, immediately at spawn, can sometimes have value. If the Krakens, they played this map, so have the Marines. This is a pub map. They kind of know the standard play for the Krakens is to go around to the north. So
Yeah,
this might be the situation where if they did go middle and play in the middle for map control, that might have wielded a different result, or more funny, stay at spawn, form a line, and then just be ready to run.
yes, I
You
agree
know?
with you. Um, it does look like the Marines are not going down without a fight. I'm seeing some cannon explosions on the lead Kraken's 8 gun, but the Krakens are sending 2 8 guns to cut behind. This is actually a very interesting moment. This is a very large map. If the Marines get real aggressive on that 13 gun, it is not out of the question that they can sink it. And
Oh yeah.
the 2 ships that are splitting behind Muffin, we're always very wary of splitting the fleet because anytime you're not going directly parallel with an enemy line, the enemy line is moving away from you. And
Oh yeah.
so these 8 guns that are now cutting behind the Marines 2 8 guns, like the Kraken 8 guns that are cutting behind, they're going to have a very difficult time landing a lot of shots on those 8 guns. Because what do they have to do? They have to turn. They have to turn their broadsides towards the back of the Marines 8 guns. And to do that, means you stop your forward motion, which means that the Marines can run away. So now, and we're seeing it. We're seeing the ship HP of the Kraken's 13 gun dropping. It is actually in dangerous territory right now. Very
Yep.
dangerous territory, and it's drifting. They're trying to get away.
With no more boats, last 2 8s. I mean, yeah, come on, Marines. Just bring down that 13, ignore everything else. Fire everything.
Woman's like, give me those points. Uh,
I mean,
that's great.
yeah.
And
Hey,
I'm
you
gonna
got all the
pause.
mercenaries. You got Bobby, which is a
Yep.
dangerous 8 gun cap or shooter. Come on.
So now what we've seen is the 13 gun of the Kraken has stopped. It wants these Marines 8 guns to drift too much forward to hit it. It's putting an 8 gun in front of it. These two 8 guns are cutting behind so that they can get shots on the back. They want to sink the weakened 8 gun. But that 13 gun is on the brink. It is on the absolute brink. I think we're going to see it go down in the next few seconds with a little bit of action, a little bit of life yet in the Marines if they can sink this 13 gun. Let's see if it can happen in these last 12 minutes. It's
And there it
down. It's
goes.
down.
Good job.
Nice job. A respectable last stand here from the Marines. And now that that has happened, I think all the good news that the Marines are going to have is finished because now they are a 2v1 because they have lost what I assume is the rear of their two 8 guns. Yes, it is the
Yep.
rear of their two 8 guns. The lead 8 gun is healthy. The question is, and I'd love if you can answer this for me, Muffin, what kind of cannons do they have to bear on their port side?
Uh, they have 3. They
That's
have.
not bad. How about the ship that's right across from them? The Kraken's 8 gun. Do they have a full cannon
Ooh, they
battery?
stopped.
Mhm.
They have 3 as well. They have their rear ones out.
Okay, so this is an even battle. Again, these two 8 guns that cut behind are not going to have any kind of range. So it is a 1v2 8 gun battle here. And as you can
Oh
see,
no.
this first RM captain is doing a phenomenal job. I'd love to know who the captain is on this
I
ship.
wouldn't have stopped honestly. I just keep
Well,
fighting, keep
the
maneuvering.
the reason being is because there's a few seconds where the Kraken ships are blocking each other. The Kraken ship that's on the other side, and now you can see them moving. No, I think that was a great move because what he did is he maximized the time that those two 8 guns were in line with each other, blocking each other. I mean, he's got to sink. He's got to sink the ship that he's across from. I don't know, however, that that is a ship that is in any way weakened. And he's about to take some shots from the rear. So now
Yep.
he's going to be having 4. So I see now he does need to move forward. He's at
Oh
the
yeah.
extremity of the range of those two ships that are trying to cut behind him.
And then the gunboats coming in, which
Mhm.
can get those. This is what the gunboats live for: is a ship that can engage them and where they can just rake it from behind and do a lot of damage with
Popping
their
cannons,
guns.
destroying furniture. They just want, I mean, they have time. They're like snipers. Nobody's watching
Mhm.
them, and they're just popping very well aimed shots into this 8 gun. The 8 gun has successfully moved out of the range of the two 8 guns that are cutting off behind it. And it is, but I'm seeing cannon destruction on it here. I'm
Yeah,
wondering how much it's port side. I mean, it's getting its T crossed right now.
it
This is the beginning of the end.
it looks like it has 3 up. So I guess
Wow, great.
one of them looked destroyed up until that moment. So that's probably why I miscounted it. But it's gonna go down fighting hard,
And
and
that's what you want. That's what
oh
you
yeah.
want. That's what you want
And
specifically.
he
But
now
here's what we
has
don't
enough.
want.
He now has enough crew to fight on both sides if he wanted to.
Oh, another cannon destroyed on its port. So it does need to get those starboard side cannons into rotation on that ship on its like right in front of it. It's
Yeah.
going to be very difficult to do so. It's got very bad wind approaching the situation, but it has half of its ship HP. But ship HP
Uh,
don't mean shit if you don't
that
have any
front
cannons.
cannon should probably. Ooh,
Oof.
ooh, ooh, this is.
Yeah, this is where it gets dark.
I mean, I see a couple. I think I've seen at least a couple cannon explosions on that other ship. So
Okay.
they're making it pay. But yeah, they're just. If I'm
Oof.
that captain, I'm just like, okay, guys, hit both sides. We're gonna fight it out. 2 damage. Blow up cannons, please.
Question is, does he turn in one direction or the other now? And it's really where his cannons are at. Where are your cannons? You know? Whatever side brings more cannons to bear, that's the side you want to turn in towards the enemy. You know you're going to get hit from the rear by somebody.
I
And
mean,
as you
he
can
seems
see,
like he wants to try to finish off the main ship he's been engaging
I
since
can't imagine he's got many cannons left on that side. Maybe one.
uh, it might be one. Let's let's see. Let's see. Oh no, he's he's all out.
Then he's got to
Uh,
be turning. He's got to turn his starboard side in. I know what he wants, but I mean, listen, I'm sure he's sending rowboat after rowboat after rowboat at that ship behind him. You can see them
oh yeah.
slowly crawling towards it. He's got to do a
Ooh,
starboard side turn here.
yeah. He's gonna take a lot of. Ooh, why do you have cannons loaded? He's just asking to be detonated.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a glorious last stand. There's no doubt about it, and truly a sign of a planning and luring that 13 gun in at the end for the first RM. That was a real stroke of genius. They did a great job taking a little bit of advantage over the Krakens for not offsetting that 13 gun. They saw an opportunity and they took it, and that's the silver lining for them. This part is the inevitable finish, unfortunately.
Yeah. And if we think about it, if from their original plan, when they moved out at spawn, where they decided to engage the Krakens was probably another spot where instead of having their 13 in line, probably like honestly offsetting it and just having the eights go around the island while it stayed on the inside, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and just kind of force the KRN to, in a sense, dive onto that 13 potentially. That's another thing I've been thinking about as I've been watching them is like, huh, given their plan, that's probably how I would have tried to handle that situation.
Yeah.
Is
I think one way or the other, both of these teams. I'm not sure why the Marines made this choice. I mean, the islands forced them, I think, to keep a line that did not have anything offset.
Mhm.
Um, but that's really not what you want to do against a team like the Krakens, who absolutely will focus fire down whatever the most important looking ship in their range is. And for
Oh
the
yeah,
Krakens, I think it was a little bit of a level of like confidence that they did not feel like they needed to. Like, might as well keep their 13 gun and what's going to happen. And I don't want to say overconfidence because I think their confidence was very justified, as we saw. Um, but it is the reason that their 13 gun did end up sinking at all, which I don't think it had to in this battle, to be honest. Um, a
yeah.
mild criticism for a team that has dominated this match from the very, very beginning. But still, a great
Yeah.
showing from the Krakens, no
It is
doubt.
that thought. Win harder.
Whether they want it, that's what they want. I know for a fact that like the 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 sweetness of this victory is going to be a little bit made bitter by the fact that they lost that 13-1, and you know they didn't want to. All right, we're seeing the end of it right here, Muffin. The ship is
Mhm.
going down any second now. I don't know what it's got left, if anything, to even return fire at these enemies, but there it is, and we do have a Kraken's victory as we are hurtling with great speed towards the end of this season. We have a pretty damn good points differential between the Krakens and the Marines, 38,000 to somewhere around 12,000. So that is not what you wanted to see, I'm sure, Muffin. But
I mean, all that means is that I have to
you're gonna
destroy
have to
you next week.
really kick my ass next week. You're gonna have to really kick my ass next week. That's the only way that you're gonna get to go up and reclaim that second position. Or if let's say one way or the other, you and I, we don't have a huge points differential, but then you go and you just beat the like dog shit out of the Krakens in that final match, that could possibly do it. So you've got opportunities. You got more opportunities than anybody. So I'm rooting for you. Um, but at this point, the Krakens have clawed their way back up the leaderboard and have reclaimed their second place position on the leaderboard. And how long will that last? That is to be seen. So we kind of already started talking a little bit, Muffin, about our takeaways and about our lessons learned from this one. What did you take away? Final word on what we thought this battle really showed.
It still shows that Kraken's in a straight up line fight, that they can get that angle. They once again that initial engagement, I think they had the as close to a perfect angle as you could be for the
Yeah.
fight, and they profited off of it greatly. They
Yeah.
were able to sink that 13. For the Marines, I mean, I do think for their fight overall, they did what they needed to do. They had a good line. It's just they were not in the, I guess you could say, the true best position. So I do think maybe next time to consider, maybe do take the risk of center and try to let Wavy and Percy. Maybe that would trip them up.
Yeah.
But
Well, lessons learned, and we will talk to the admirals themselves and hear what they have to say about this battle. We have with us Percy, Wavy, and Kieran's. We will talk to Percy and Wavy first, our victors today. Congratulations, gentlemen. It was a strong victory, and we know what your hopes were coming into this, which was a big points victory for yourselves, so to catapult you back up into the second place. You have gotten what I would say is a pretty good points victory here today. I think the major moment for you guys was, of course, the engagement sinking their 13 gun and then the chase. But then they came back towards the end and they put a little bit more pressure maybe than you expected on your 13 gun. So tell us about those two moments, about each of the 13 guns sinking and where you were in those moments.
I had a good view from the sky from all of it. We had we Wavy was coordinating the helm from R13, so I think we can imagine the jubilation. Obviously, we managed to get a nice snipe on a very respectable Marines 13 gun over there. Um, that's always a fun one for us when we can try and sneak that. That's always our main target, no matter what. So trying to get that in our first engagement with someone and take it out, leaving our 13 gun to do all the pressure is one of our main things that we like to do. I think you can probably sort of go a bit more into the tactics on that one for us there, Wavy, about the positioning, because you called it perfectly with a little bit of assistance from above.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the when we sank their 13, it was in that initial running um, line battle that we had going there, and we were always fairly. Admittedly, we were expecting it on a completely different map, but we were always fairly happy with the idea of fighting a line battle against the Marines. Because we knew we had plenty of good gunners on our side, all of the usual stuff, but generally quite comfortable taking those. So once they had gone away, they turned downwind at the start, so we didn't get the initial passive engagement. We had to come back in, and we had this running line battle. We initially actually had a slight issue where our fleet, and particularly our 13 gun, because it was so far forward in our fleet, was a bit ahead of theirs, and actually they were managing to shoot R13, and we didn't have too many that could get back and shoot theirs. So we very deliberately slowed our line, stopped our line, let their fleet then move up to bring their 13 where all of our ships could sink it, could shoot it to sink it, and of course we did manage to do that. And I think that was the key moment in the battle for us. Although admittedly, poor Swaggington on the rear ship then didn't have much action for the rest of the fight because of that. But it worked out. Of course, they did get me on the 13 in the end. We would have liked to avoid that, but you know,
It just shows the talent that that we were against. We all know the Marines on any day. When things go their way, can turn a game on its head. We saw that in the first match of the season that they played. They managed to sneak a win, although it was and stuff like that. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. And losing a 13 gun in any scenario is not useful. But we managed to make sure that we made it count with our first sort of snipe of the match, I guess, if that makes sense.
yeah, what Percy finished for me.
Very good.
Sorry. Sorry.
Um, Muffin, do you have any questions for our victorious admirals?
uh, what did you guys think of the Marines' rocket boats at the initial? That's the first question. So, did it kind of trip
So
you up, or?
I don't think it did trip us up, because we brought gunboats
Mhm.
regardless, so we were always ready for any kind of fight, whether a gunboat or rocket boat. And I personally found it a bit of an odd move they did, because they go up round the island, so they were coming almost straight down onto the head of our fleet. and then they went back into the islands, and then they came round again. So it was that we knew where they were all the time, and it was this initial point where they were coming straight down to the head of our fleet. Sorry, uh,
No, no,
that
Oh,
it's
you
okay.
honestly,
It's okay.
Admiral?
I
Percy,
was
you can leave.
maybe. Yes, oh, bless you. We all know we all know who's in charge here. Look at me, I am the admiral now. It was this
Nice.
initial moment when they were coming down on the head of our fleet that I was maybe slightly concerned by them, but they then turned away from this angle where we couldn't really do much to shoot forward and kill them before they got to us. At which point, at least from my perspective on the 13 gun, I stopped worrying about them so much.
Yeah.
Percy might have suddenly started worrying about them for the back of the fleet at that point, but
Right.
that's not where my focus was then.
Well then, Percy, were you giving orders to the small boats throughout the whole match, or were you kind
Yes,
of just like, "Go forth,
pretty
my children,
much.
go forth"?
I'm very much more of the observant. If something looks like it's going to be a concern to me or something like that, I will make it known to everybody. But I like to let my guys, for the most part, do what they want to do. There was a point where our guys got caught between some islands, and the rest of the sort of Marines 8 guns coming up back on the second passing, coming up on a little runaway sort of escapade that we were chasing them through, and I made sure my guys weren't moving from the islands to keep that sort of safety and that cover to then try and deal with their boats, which they managed to take out the guns off to basically defang them and leave them a little bit, less viperish as they might you might say them to be, and give us that opportunity to then try and keep some of them alive and not lose those boats willy-nilly. But I also then tried to make sure that we have a very strong sort of angle turning with our guys as well, and Wavy's a very good coordinator with me from that sort of perspective up above to help with the main fleet as well. So we work really well together, just like I do with Killer and everyone else in our guys team, really.
Right. Yeah, that's it for me. Good game to both of you.
Yeah, great game, guys. And thank you for your time and an explanation on this. Your next battle, I believe, is against this guy sitting next to me in the host
Oh.
booth. That's going to be a fun one, but you're going to have to wait your turn because I get him next week. So I'll see. We'll see what's left of him for you
Does
guys
that mean we're
after
running it
next
back?
week.
Do we
Bold
get to run it
talk
back
for someone
again?
who just lost to him.
Hey! Every game is a fresh start, my friend. Every game is a fresh start.
Does that
Uh,
mean we've got the broadcast again next week?
yeah, probably. Very likely.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
run it back, Wavy.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
So let's turn it over and talk to Kieran's. And Kieran's, do you have somebody else with you here today to represent your
Yeah,
team?
I've got Victor here with me today, who handled basically all the tactics for today's NSL.
Okay.
Drew up all the plans. He
Okay.
really is great at the naval stuff. So yeah,
Excellent. Well, this was a curveball, no doubt about it. So, what I'd love to hear from you, my major questions are definitely the gunboat play in the beginning and what we were hoping to get out of that, and what your success, was there. Then we'll talk about, like I said, again, same kind of question. What was it like getting into the line battle? And then tell us, of course, about the moment where you sunk the Kraken's 13 gun. Those were for me the highlights of the battle. Those were the big moments. So whichever of you wants to take us through it, I'd love to hear what your strategy was coming into this and how it played out based off of that.
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna let Victor do the talking here. He had a lot of plans drawn up for the original map.
Mhm.
And I'm not using it as an excuse by no means, but it did throw us off a bit having to do sort of last minute preps for the new map layout. But it was still a lot of fun regardless, and it was quite refreshing to come back to a base game map. But yeah, I'll hand over to Victory so he can explain the whole scenario with the gunboats and such.
Well, yeah, you basically just explained it for me there, Admiral. But basically speaking, what we try to do is that we wanted to have as maximum damage as possible. We wanted to have a lot of the damage on the get-go. However, we had a little bit of comms issues with the gunboats, so we couldn't really go up with that plan to the maximum potential. However, we did kind of try and we made do with whatever we could. So overall, it is a step up. We have made some great progress, and yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. Great plans. It was really again a big curveball for
Yeah,
changing the map. I had
no
to make
question.
I had to make plans on the fly there. That was quite interesting. But overall, yeah, it was fun times. It was, of course, first time doing this here, being in the interview. That's really nice. Thank you,
Well,
Kieran, also
welcome.
for this opportunity.
Yeah,
All
welcome,
right.
guy. Welcome to the big leagues, and we're very happy to have you here. Tell us. So was the plan that we saw today like an echo, or did it rhyme kind of with the original plan that you guys had, or was it just like a totally different thing that you ended up having to slap together at the last minute?
It's a bit of both. So I'm not gonna really spoil the magician's secret here, but
No, don't.
basically speaking, we did kind of were like, okay, well, what in the world? Because all the formations, the land formations, and just everything had to be changed on the last second. And I was streaming it through Kieran's game. I was not actually in the game itself, and I was like, okay, maybe we have to go here, maybe we have to go here instead. And overall, it was quite a challenge, but I could definitely say that there were a few components, I won't say which, but there's definitely were a few components that does kind of resonate. And I do also believe that, and I'll give you this hint over here, that is probably why we actually were able to sync that 13 gun. So
Yeah, tell us about that moment. Um, I do want to hear about when your 13 gun sunk, but I'm sure the heart pumping moment for you guys was when you got to take down the Kraken's 13 gun. So tell us a little bit about that moment.
yeah, of course. So for our 13 gun, that was a bit unexpected, that's for sure. We thought it would hold up a little bit, but oh well, we made do with what we could. But at the same time, then what we tried to do is we tried to kind of not lure, but we tried to maintain a stable line, and we also used a very like almost completely killed off boat as kind of cannon fodder. So while you guys were focused on that boat, we were able to keep on hitting off the 13 guns. We were kind of, it was kind of like they were the scapegoat on that. They were the target, and it worked out pretty well. At the end of the day, we did sink their 13 gun and almost got to sink one of their 8 guns. So again, that's some pretty good progress, I must say.
I've been told by our director that the chat wants to hear, and I'm reading this, the Marines' thought on the Leviathans match too. I didn't get to hear the post match on that.
Which match was that?
I don't know if they mean our last match, our recent loss to the SCP, but
They're trying to rage bait you there.
I think they might be. I mean, it's Nazgul, so it's certainly possible.
Could be the match
We're,
that you
we're not
guys
gonna
had
cut.
where
We're
you
not gonna cut.
didn't.
We're refusing to comment on the other battle. We're here for our battle.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Well,
I
good. I
they
agree.
might have been asking about the match where Karen's wasn't able to make it to the post match
Oh,
interview
right, because
between
you guys
yourself.
weren't
Oh,
we didn't have a rep. So if
oh
you did
yeah.
want to make any, well, you know what? Well, let's finish this conversation. We'll have a little post interview content where if there is anything that you want to say about that. I'm sorry, Nazgul, you meant the best, and I was insulting you here, but that was actually a really good question because we didn't get your perspective from the last battle against us. But before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the future, the rest of your season. So you're in the lower half of the bracket right now, but there will be a semifinal and final. You guys still have every opportunity to win that lower bracket, and not only will you win, there may be some cash prize for you if you do win that lower bracket. And
Yeah.
so right now you have the Royal Black Fleet and the Jackals. The Jackals are 3-7. The Royal Black Fleet is 2-7. I believe your next battle is against the Royal Black Fleet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe
Um,
it is.
uh, uh, and so my question for you is, who do you want to face in the semifinals? Like, what? How do you want the end of your season to go? Like, what are you hoping for here at this point?
Well, I think that it would be nice to face the Jackals. They're a team I would say we're somewhat equally matched with.
Hmm.
Um, but in terms of um, getting through the games and being able to play some more, I'm really excited for our next match with the Royal Black Fleet. I think there's a bit of competition ahead of us. We do have uh, some big plans for that as well, and we're hoping to do something that will uh, really excite the viewers and you guys on the panel as well.
Say one more time. You cut out for me for just a second. What is
Oh, I'm so
where is
sorry.
the surprise going to come?
So we've got a big surprise coming for the next match with the Royal Black Fleet. I won't
Oh,
reveal too much about
okay,
it, but
okay,
it's something that I think both the viewers and the panelists will really enjoy.
excellent.
Something
I
that
can't wait.
I'm looking forward to. That's for sure.
Beautiful. Muffin, any questions for Kieran's or Victory?
Yeah, so for Victory or for Kieran, when you guys lined up and
Yeah,
squaring off with the Krakens, you had that big island kind of to your left, and it was
yeah.
kind of forcing you guys into a line. Did you guys think about maybe cutting early, or at least maybe cutting your 13 gun early, or either or?
We
b-
did.
to
We
s-
wanted to maintain the battle line, to be
Okay,
honest. And I know exactly what island you're referring to. It's the one where we lost the 13 gun.
yeah.
So an absolute marksman, the KRN managed to destroy our carronade very early on. From there on, it sort of threw us off a little bit. The idea was to get all the ships around that island and start moving
Mm,
with the wind south, and then hopefully re-engage and find a better point of contact. But we lost our 13 gun, and then our rearmost 8 gun took a beating as well before it got a chance to get around the island. And as um, as we all know, the KRN don't really miss their shots, so it's a tough bout going up against that when you're massively outnumbered, especially on the curve of the island. I think
mm.
it was 4 8 gun vessels were engaging our rearguard vessel, so it was rough.
Yeah, that can be rough. That can be rough. But
Yeah,
what is, I guess, the one thing, if you could change anything in this map for your formation or anything,
yeah.
what do you think it would have been?
I think trying our hand against the wind initially, rather than taking the favour of the southern wind. I noticed the KRM were they sort of went uh, north initially, and I just kept thinking about the game. I can't remember when it was in the season, but two teams basically spent a lot of the match sort of circling around and not really engaging. I didn't want to get to that point, and at one point,
Okay, you
Victory
can
said,
call me out. You can call me out. It's fine, Kyron. That was me. That was me.
but
That
Victory actually
was.
asked me, he said, "Do we want to get into an engagement sooner rather than later?" And I said, "I'd rather do it sooner." And it's not because I wanted to wrap things up; it's because I wanted to get in the fight and see what damage we could inflict.
Yeah.
And that's always a good decision because whatever happens, you can react, you can reset,
Yeah,
you can reform. If it doesn't go well for you in the beginning, there's always a later part. But if you wait till the very end of the battle, if it doesn't go your way at the end of the battle, you got no time to fix it up. So I appreciate that mindset myself. I'll read one more question that we have in the chat. Why two rocket boats in the beginning?
um, so this is something we debated in the captain's chat, and for me, I don't know if it's the same for any of the other teams. I feel like the rocket boats just aren't as effective, and I'd rather preserve our gunboats. It didn't happen in this match. Our boats got slaughtered, but the idea was we would utilize our rocket boats initially. But the KRN did a fantastic job of keeping our boats at bay. I didn't. I barely saw them throughout the battle, and I know that's because they were tied up engaging the
Yeah,
enemy's
they had
boats.
their own little sub theater throughout the entire battle between the four of your
Yeah.
gunboats. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Um, well, I want to thank you all for your perspectives. Percy, I know had to run out, but thank you, Wavy. Thank you, Kieran's, and thank you, Victory. I do want to give, if you want, and you certainly can say no, wouldn't
For
bother
the
me any.
Leviathans match.
About the Leviathans match, is there any
Sure.
thoughts that you've had since then? Maybe what were your takeaways? I'd say for the match, rather than going blow by blow.
So from what I remember, I'm one of those admirals that hate getting at the wall and having a gun off with the enemy, and I think that it was a case of avoid that at all cost. A lot of a lot of the big league teams like the Leviathans and the Kraken, they really excel when it comes to um, sort of just brawling it out, gun for gun, and it's not something that we excel in at all. So it's something I want to work on in the future. But my takeaway from that match was that We had a few issues with comms, something that we've had an issue with throughout the season. We've been trying out new things each game, and some of the captains that we had were also a little bit newer. I don't want to keep using that excuse, but we do have sort of a little bit of high turnover at the moment.
Well, it
Um,
seems it seemed to me, and maybe I'm crazy here, but it has seemed to me that your numbers have kind of grown over the course of this season. Like you were a two regiment team, and now you're basically just you guys. And I know we have Bjornson who stuck around from the 77th, but that's really it.
yeah,
And it seems like most of the fact that your team size hasn't radically changed in size, you're still bringing similar numbers, but that's being replaced with what I assume are like kind of new recruits, newer players, and so I feel
yeah.
like the end of this season is kind of like your training camp for next season is kind of what it
I
seems
guess
like.
you are right there. We're also bringing back a few players that were, they played with us a while ago, and they've come back to play with us, but they're still sort of getting back into the whole naval aspect of things.
Yeah,
They've gone from leading lines all the time to jumping straight into naval. I think it's because they prefer naval now. We do a lot of naval
that's
in the
good.
regiment. So
Oh, good, perfect.
Yeah, I
Well,
must also add, if I can, is
of
that
course.
we have been taking a lot more of a participation in all sorts of events. So that is also taking note, and also we have a great chain of command that is going into the thick of it and trying to actually get these things going. So
Yeah,
I would say it's a teamwork, it's a team effort, and that is something that we are doing better and better and better each day.
yeah, and I think it has to be said that in a few months, this whole game is going to be unrecognizable from itself, and that is going to be a very different story for every team. So, like, what's set in stone today is not necessarily guaranteed for tomorrow, and it's going to be who embraces and learns this new naval that we're going to get that's going to really take off, and that can be literally anybody because we're all going to be equally inexperienced with it. So looking forward to seeing you guys for the rest of this season and of course hopefully next season. All right, well, with that, thank you for your comments on that, Kieran's and Victory. I hope the chat is happy and satisfied with that little bit of insight that they got, that they missed during our last game. With that, I'd like to thank everybody who organized both behind the scenes for the cameras, our directors, our correspondents, our mercenary organizers, all the people behind the scenes. There's a huge team that's always helping out behind here. Great guys like Muffin Top, who I was very happy to co-host with today, and we're very friendly this week, and we'll be a little bit less so next week. And always having our friends from the KRN. Who I just want to thank you guys for always stepping up and helping out with all the behind the scenes stuff when guys like from my regiment aren't able to do it. It's such a community effort that we put together here, and it really just goes to show the real love and collegiality we all have. Even though we are rivals, we are also friends and love naval together, and it's a very nice thing behind the scenes. I wanted to share that with all of you who are watching. So Muffin, thank you for joining me today. I hope you had a lot of fun.
Well, it's always a lot of fun, whether I get to talk, camera, or, command.
Perfect.
NSL
Well,
has always been great.
next week we will meet each other again on the field of glory and see what happens. I am very excited for it, and I hope you all are watching as well. We will see you next week, and thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everybody.